Should you stop stacking to pay off debt? This is obviously a very complicated question, but in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what I am personally doing, starting from my smallest debts all the way to the biggest. I'm going to give a clear, definitive answer as to exactly what I'm doing. So today, without further ado, we're going to break down the benefits and price action and future potential for silver and gold stacking, why it's important to stay consistent in my personal metal stacking goals, and how paying off my debt may be even more important. Let's get into it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe as we push hard for 7,000 subs. Let me preface this video by stating this is not financial advice. I'm just explaining exactly what I'm doing and how I'm integrating stacking into my debt payoff plans. Before I go any further, we're going to go ahead and unbox a 10-ounce bar that just came in the mail. This 10-ounce bar came from PIMBEX.com, who also happens to be the channel sponsor of today's video. So if you'd like to pick up metals at decent prices with secure shipping, check out PIMBEX.com. And the bar that we got was a Frontier Mint 10-ounce silver bar. This is my 5th bar that I'm adding to the stack, and it feels good knowing that I have $2,500 worth of silver in just 10-ounce bars at this point. This one feels nice and dense and chunky. I think I'm going to keep the wrapping around it. All of my bars are pretty shiny, but I wanted a frosted one, and this one looks absolutely amazing, and I'm very happy to have added it to the stack. I'm going to go ahead and place that right there. So let's talk about our favorite thing ever. Debt. Debt is one of the most common things that prevents stackers from stacking as much weight as they would like. Minimum payments every single month can be a huge detriment towards our stacking goals. After all, if you've got thousands of dollars of credit card debt, a super high car payment, that's going to cut into your budget every single month and prevent you from stacking the weight that you want to stack. And to make things worse, there's interest attached to that debt. So let's start with credit cards. Credit cards commonly have an interest rate of 15 to 25% on whatever amount it is that you owe. So paying off credit cards, that's an easy answer. My plan from the very beginning was to pay those off, and that's exactly what I did. And it feels good knowing that I don't have a pesky charge hitting my bank account every single month from multiple different cards anymore. And the absence of these minimum payments has freed up enough money to buy several ounces of silver each month as well. Next, let's move on to cars. After all, cars are a depreciating asset. You're never going to get back what you put into them financially. Now keep in mind, I'm speaking in the context of a vehicle that just gets you from point A to point B, not necessarily something that you would use for a business or a side hustle. I'm talking purely in context of something you use to get to and from work each and every day. But in my experience, paying off my car was like an instantaneous raise. I had my vehicle on a 3-year note, and I managed to pay that off in just over 2 years, and I absolutely do not regret it. Did I have to cut back on things that I wanted in the meantime? Absolutely, but I felt a sense of purpose every single time I paid extra towards my principal. And for those of you that don't know, whenever you pay towards your principal, not a regular car payment, you're not actually paying any interest. Once your car payment is satisfied for the month, you can go ahead and pay however much you want towards the principal and avoid interest entirely. And that's exactly what I did, and I paid it off pretty quick. It feels good driving from place to place knowing I own my vehicle outright. I take as good of care of it as I possibly can because I honestly want it to last as long as possible. At this point, with how expensive cars are, I'm really not attracted to them nearly as much as I was in the past. They depreciate, they have mechanical problems. The nicer of a vehicle that you get, the higher the insurance is. And in general, I just kind of feel like cars suck now. I love sports cars. I love automotive history. And yeah, it would be nice to have a new flashy sports car. But whenever I compare that to what my financial goals are, to what my stacking goals are, to my desire to keep my cost of living as low as possible, there is no comparison as to which path I choose. I commonly say that it doesn't matter what type of car you drive, how many miles it has, how beat up and chipped the paint is, how much road rash the wheels may have. A paid off car is better than any other car on the road. And my ability to move from place to place without a car payment attached to that, in a way, has made this vehicle that I own way more valuable than the amount of money that I spent on it. Now let's talk about the big one. Homes. Should you pay off your home, which is most Americans' largest line item in their finances, should you pay it off early and throw everything you have at it to get rid of that monthly payment? Well, that answer is up to you, but I'm going to tell you exactly what it is that I'm doing. What lenders won't tell you, what bankers won't tell you, what credit unions won't tell you is that mortgages are on an amortization schedule. To put it simply, the amortization schedule of a home is the rate at which you get charged interest each and every month throughout the course of your 15 or 30-year mortgage. Banks know statistically that you will move within the next 10 years. Most people will move within a 10-year time frame. So as a result, what banks will do, what lenders will do, is put the vast majority of the interest in the first 10 years of your mortgage. It doesn't matter what the interest rate is. It could be 10%, it could be 1.5%. It doesn't matter. The vast majority of the interest is going to be placed in the first 10 years of any given 30-year mortgage. So I've got a amortization calculator pulled up here that's going to break all this down for us. For a $200,000 loan on a house over 30 years with a 6% interest rate, which is close to what we would be paying now, the monthly payment is about $1,200. After 360 monthly payments, 30 years of monthly payments, you would spend $431,676 on that house. Keep in mind, the cost of the home is only $200,000, but you're going to spend over double if you only make the minimum payment each month. The total interest that you will pay is $231,000. You're going to spend more on interest than you do on the house itself if you decide to just let it ride and pay it out monthly for 30 years straight. Here's a graph of the amortization schedule. The balance of the home is in blue and the interest is in green. As you can see at the bottom of the graph, there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 years that represents the passage of time. And as you can see, in the first 10 years for a $200,000 home, you will spend over $100,000 in just interest in those first 10 years. But if you take a look at the blue line, you will only have built up less than $50,000 worth of equity. You spent over $150,000 and you have less than $50,000 equity in your home. The amount of interest you're paying each and every month doesn't actually cool down until year 11 to year 15. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the actual hard numbers. The annual schedule showing how much interest you'll pay versus how much equity you will build up. And in the first year, on a $200,000 loan over 30 years, you will have spent $11,933 in interest, but you will have only built up $2,456 worth of equity. And as each year passes, you will pay slightly less interest and build slightly more equity as each year goes on. But after 10 years, you will have spent over $110,000 in interest and you will have only built roughly $30,000 in equity. So what does this all mean and what is my personal approach towards all of this? And just based upon what I am doing, am I going to stop stacking and pay off the house before anything else? And the answer is no. What I'm personally focused on is paying as much to principal as possible so I can advance myself through the amortization schedule as quickly as possible. So with a $200,000 loan, if I made an extra $1,000 towards the monthly payment each month, it would reduce the time that I'm paying on my home from 360 monthly payments all the way down to 122. And instead of paying over $200,000 in interest, I will only pay roughly $67,000 in interest. So what my specific goal is to pay down the loan as quickly as possible until I can get that crazy high amount of interest under control. Once again, it doesn't matter what your interest rate is, the bank's going to put it all in the first third of the loan. They want to make their money first, and they're not interested in you building any equity in the first place. If you were to follow the same strategy, does that mean that you have to stop stacking entirely? No, not at all. And it's not like you have to put an additional $1,000 every single month. You can skip months, or you could pay significantly less towards principal. Even if it's just a couple of $100s, it'll make a huge difference in the long run over the course of the loan. So what is my plan? My plan is to pay down that loan until I have the interest under control, steadily stack on the side at the same time, and then whenever I'm comfortable and not disgusted by how much of my money is going straight towards interest for each monthly payment, then I'll be able to speed up my stacking once again. And now that I've got no credit card debt and no car payment, it really does free up a lot of space to continue stacking. Now, as of recent, I've heard a lot of negative talk about actually owning a home. Many people online are saying that all the maintenance included in owning a home, the insurance, and the overall rising costs of owning a tangible asset like that makes it not worth it to get a home in the first place, and instead you should just rent. But I personally, not financial advice, disagree with that. Yes, it is a lot more expensive up front to own a home. Things are going to break down. You're going to have to get it replaced. You're going to have to do work yourself, and if it's something that you don't know how to fix, you're going to have to pay a pretty penny to get it working again. But in the long run, it's my opinion that I'll be in a better spot, because yes, insurance prices are rising. Premiums are going up. Taxes on properties are going up as well. But the thing about it is, the people that charge the rent, the people that own the rental properties, their taxes are also going up, and their insurance premiums are also going up. And if you want to be a successful landlord and actually make money on your investment, you've got to have a percentage gain over these rising costs, which means rent prices will go up. Not only will they go up, they will outpace the rising costs that landlord has to pay on his or her properties. I would much rather take on a heavier financial burden now and know that once I have the home paid off or mostly paid off, that my cost of living isn't going to aggressively increase than be stuck renting 10 or 15 or 20 years from now. There's no telling what rent prices are going to be 10 or 20 years from now. Just like in stacking, I apply a lot of the same philosophies to owning real estate. Having that control is absolutely priceless. It allows you to predict your future to a better degree than you could if you were renting. An apartment that costs $1,200 a month right now could easily cost $3,000 a month 10 years from now, or maybe even more. Stacking precious metals and owning real tangible assets like a home share a lot of the same characteristics. It does require a level of sacrifice up front and for the first several years to get out ahead of where you were before. With stacking, metals can run slowly or stagnant for years on end, but me personally, I view those stagnant markets as a buying opportunity for the next time the metals go on a bull run. And the same thing applies to real estate. Yes, for those first 2 or 3 years, I'll be paying a decent amount of interest, but as I build up the equity in my home and pay down the principal as quickly as I can, that amount of interest that I pay becomes less and less and less. And it also shortens the amount of time that I'm going to be paying on that property. And eventually, all I'll have to worry about is maintenance, taxes, and insurance. That whole mortgage payment plus the interest will be completely gone. And at the end of it, I'll have a nice home with plenty of space, with everything that I need inside of it, and all I'll have to focus on are those taxes and insurance rates and maintenance that I listed earlier. But all the while, I'll be stacking as I go along. I'll budget it out. The key is to reduce cost of living as much as you possibly can. And my personal opinion, not financial advice, once again. Not having credit card payments saves hundreds of dollars a month. Not having a car payment saves hundreds of dollars a month. That frees up the space for me to stack. And as I stack, it teaches me more and more what is truly valuable, and it helps me keep my finger on the pulse as to what I should be working towards and putting my money towards. So it's like a double benefit. My net worth increases gradually over time through stacking, but it also helps me maintain a low cost of living and avoid lifestyle inflation and not turn around and buy things that I don't actually need, whether that's the newest tech or the newest clothing or the newest, shiniest set of wheels that I could drive down the road. road. My net worth goes up over time from stacking, and my cost of living remains low because of stacking, which frees up extra in the budget to put more money towards the principal on my home. I credit all of this to stacking. Everything that I've learned, the way that I view value, the way that I budget, the way that I financially move through life, I owe it all to silver and gold stacking. But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know what your strategy is. Stay safe out there. Keep stacking. Peace.